Hey everybody, I'm Alice McClellan, and this is my brother and editor, Mason. We're the Backtrack Brothers! Today, we're covering the movie Thor, initially released on May 6, 2011. This was the fourth film released in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, following Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. The next two films after Thor were Captain America and The Avengers, the film that cemented the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the force that has its grip on the film industry to this day. Thor is a powerful yet brutish Asgardian who is about to usurp the role as king from his father, Odin. That is, until Thor makes a choice that sends his whole world into chaos, leading Odin to banish Thor to Earth without his powers. Thor must resolve his personal demons and regain his powers to return to Asgard before it falls into ruin. As usual, let's get started with talking about the technical strengths and weaknesses of this film. Visual effects can vary from jaw-droppingly beautiful, which includes almost everything in Asgard, to dark and undetailed, which is basically Jotunheim. There are even effects that are straight up laughable. Most notably, there's obvious green screens in the escape from the giant ice monster on Jotunheim, and there's really crappy backgrounds during some dialogue-heavy scenes. They did an amazing job of making Asgard feel larger than life and making the Asgardians feel godlike. That is some impressive man meat. That's what she said. The stark contrast between the landscapes and people of Earth and Asgard is super evident. All of the Earth scenes take place in barren deserts that offer little visual stimulation or color variety. On the other hand, Asgard is as vibrant as any digital landscape depicted before it. This disparity led me to experience some video quality whiplash, but Mason felt that it actually highlighted how beautiful Asgard appears, which we think is what the filmmakers were really going for. Outside of the visual effects, which are generally impressive for this era, there isn't much that stood out in this movie, technically speaking. There are an abundance of shots from the Dutch angle, which was highlighted by Mason and is also echoed in a lot of online discussions around this film. These shots can rub some viewers the wrong way, as they're a bit disorienting. This movie doesn't really necessitate it. This isn't a David Lynch movie, man. Now to the fun stuff. Let's talk about writing and acting. Thor benefits from having a hell of a cast that has aged like wine. Hemsworth became a star off this movie and was surrounded by a ton of established talent. We're talking about Natalie Portman, Anthony Hopkins, Idris Elba, Hiddleston, the list goes on and on. There are a number of wordy exposition scenes that are only effective because of the dynamic performances on display by these actors, most notably Hopkins and Hiddleston. Although, there are some very meme-worthy moments where everyone in the scene seems to just be yelling at each other as loud as possible.
Father.
Hey!
Loud noises!
Those wordy expositions I mentioned earlier are pretty typical with these origin story movies, and you're gonna get plenty of them here. Mason said that he thought it seemed more like a play than a movie at certain points, which I think is a fair criticism. If you've seen the Thor character in later Marvel movies prior to watching this film, you may be disappointed in the ratio of dialogue to action in this flick. There are three main action sequences in this film, and really none of them impressed me at all. The first one is completely shrouded in darkness, so you can't see anything. The second one pits Thor up against a torn up tin can. And then the third fight is just Thor running around a wet tent city in the rain as if he's in one of those shitty old John Cena movies, like The Marine. I mean, come on man, John, stick with the hefty ads. When it comes to the humor, you can see the seeds planted for the type of ludicrous jokes that made Thor Ragnarok such a hit, but they aren't quite developed yet. The best humor attempts come from the group of Portman, Skarsgård, and Dennings, who are an effective trio in general. But the jokes don't land at the frequency that you see in Ragnarok or Endgame. When it comes to the heart of this film, we think it feels a bit hollow compared to other similar origin story films of this ilk, like the original Spider-Man or Iron Man, which both came out in the same era. The depth of the challenge that Thor has to tackle in this movie is that he has to learn when to fight and when not to fight. That's the type of thing you have to teach teenage boys. No offense, Mason. I didn't feel the love interest angle with Portman either. I don't think it was engaging or believable, but we'll see if that changes with the upcoming release of Thor: Love and Thunder, which appears to feature Portman's character extensively. Overall, I have to say this movie didn't hold up the way I was hoping it would. Even though Thor is one of my favorite characters of the Avengers line of movies, his own independent movies tend to be forgettable, which is really ironic because I think he's one of the most bold and memorable characters in the Avengers series. I'm gonna go ahead and give Thor a 6.5 out of 10 in Holdupability.
After seeing Ragnarok, I realized that I prefer Thor as a cocky comedic character instead of the serious Norse god that he is in this movie. I thought that the action, heartfelt moments, and overall just the tension didn't really make up for the lack of comedy. And because of that, I'm giving Thor a 6 out of 10 in Holdupability.
Thanks for checking out this video.
Like and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments below.
Let us know if there's any movies you want us to watch. Who knows, maybe we'll watch them together.